Hi guys, here's the problem that it starts not at 0 but at the 8 centimeter mark. So you need to count the centimeters until you get to this part. So you have to also recognize that this is in the middle, so it's 12.5. So let's just count 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter, 4.5. So the correct answer is B, 4.5 centimeters. All right, once again, in the measurement. So again, it doesn't start at 0, it starts at in between some numbers. Now we know that this line, the larger line in between two numbers, is half. But in between a half is, think of your money, quarters. 1 quarter, 50 cents, 75, $1. So in this case, it's 6.25, 6.50, 6.75, 7, and we're right here. So this is a quarter. So it's half of a half, which is a quarter. So we'll leave that part for the second. And we can also count backwards. So you can start at the 8, and you can count upwards. 1, 2, 3. 3 plus a quarter is 3.25, or you could count starting at the quarter. So a quarter plus 1, that's 1 1/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/4. At any rate, B is the correct answer.
Next question, what is the value of the expression? So we just need to solve this. If you weren't aware, these bars that they put on the outside are called absolute value. So what we have to do is solve what's on the inside, then I'll show you what to do. So you take -3 plus a -9, which gives you -12. Absolute value means whatever you have at the end, it has to be positive. So you flip the sign to +12, choice D. Next question. Okay, what's the solution to the equation? This is order of operations. We have to complete the entire top part before we divide by the bottom number. The 12 parentheses -3 or -3 is an assumed multiply here, and that is the first thing we do. We multiply before we add, so 12 times -3 gives me -36. If I add 4 to that, I get +32. So it's kind of like subtracting, but you get, or sorry, -32 here. I messed up there. We're at -32. Divide that by 4, and we're at -8 because when I divide a negative number by a positive, it stays negative. Choice B. Next question. The table shows a relationship between x and y. Which equation is true for each of the ordered pairs in the table? So we've got 4 equations here. One of these is going to work for every set of digits you see here. So how do I approach the problem? If I start with this 0, 2, this 0 for x, 2 for y, and I plug that 0 in here and solve. So when I take 3 times 0 and add 2, I'm going to get that equals 2, which actually is true. Problem is, when I plug this 2 in here, I get 6 plus 2 equaling y, which would be 8, and that is not true here. So we know that A does not work for at least that one, so we already throw that out. So we move on to B. I'll go the same exact routine. Plug in 0 here. 0 plus 6 is 6. It fails on the first try, so that does not work. So I just skip right ahead to C, and I start with 0. This is the easiest one to do. 0, 2 seems to work. If I plug in 0 here, I get 0 plus 2 is 2, so that works, so that's okay. Plug in the 2, I get 7 plus 2 is 9, so that's okay. Plug in the 4, I get, and this is going to be a little bit tougher, we'll put in the 4 here. We get 14 plus 2 is 16, so it's worked for the first 3. I believe we've got it. We're going to we're going to kind of mark C possibly. We're just going to double check the other two here. Plug in the 6. I'm going to get 21 plus 2, and it's working. So we found our answer is letter C in this case. Next question. All right, find the missing number. Solve the left side. 3 times 5 is 15, order of operations. 3 times 1 is 3, 15 plus 3 is 18. We need whatever on this side, 3 times some unknown number has to equal 18. Well, 3 times 6 is 18. My choice is D. Next question, give it a shot. When a cube with sides numbered 1 through 6 is rolled one time, what is the probability of rolling a 4 or greater? I love probability. So I'm thinking of this cube. Think of a dice, think of a cube, whatever you want. But it's got 6 sides and each numbered 1 through 6. So we've got, when I roll this dice, it has to land face up. It's going to land on one of those numbers. The probability of rolling any one of them, say a 1 in this case, is 1 out of 6 possibilities, and that's how you write a probability. So each number, so if I rolled a 1, is a 1 in 6 chance I'm going to get it. 2, 1 in 6 chance I'm going to get it. So 4 or greater, what are those choices? That's a 4, a 5, or a 6, each with a 1 in 6 chance of getting that. So I've got a pretty good chance of rolling one of those 3 numbers. So I add these 3 together and I get 3 out of 6 of those choices, and reducing that down I get 1/2. So I've got a 50% or 1/2 probability I'll roll one of those 3 numbers. My choice is D. Begin. Alright, what's the value of the expression when x equals 5 and y equals -2? Here's the function we're going to put those numbers into. So I'm going to put this -2 in this spot here and the 5 in that spot. So I'll rewrite this 1/2 times -2 minus 5 equals. It's going to equal one of these choices. Let's solve it. Half of -2 is -1 minus 5 gives me -6. The choice is letter C. Question 2. Alright, a little story problem here. Melissa bought lunch for herself and 2 friends. So how many people did she buy lunch for? Well, that's a grand total of 3. The cost for each lunch was between $3.95 and $4.80, including tax. Which of the following could be the total cost of the lunches that Melissa bought? At first glance, this may seem easy, but actually there's a little bit of a process here. Let's just say that everybody's lunch was $3.95. That'll give us the minimum we had to spend. So 3 times about $3.95. In fact, you can use a little rounding. This would be really close to $12. So we spent at least 12. So what answer can we throw out at this point? Well, $9 is gone. It costs more than that. We know this. Now the maximum she spent was $4.80 per meal. So we could take 3 times $4.80. Mathematically, you got a calculator. 3 times $4.80 gives me $14.40. The maximum she could have spent. So which other 2 numbers can we throw out from that information? Letter C is gone, $26. Letter D is gone. Our choice in this case is $13. Next question, 60 seconds. Ready, go. Alright, it takes 90 minutes, we're going to need that number, to wash 20 vehicles at a car wash. At this rate, how many minutes does it take to wash 5 vehicles? I'm going to show you 2 quick ways to solve this. The first is setting up a proportion. If 20 vehicles, we'll just call it 20 vehicles here, takes 90 minutes, and we want to know how many does it take to do 5 vehicles here, over X number of minutes, because X is the unknown. This is what we call a proportion. Cross multiply and divide. 20x equals 450. Divide both sides by 20. You should have a calculator ready to go here. 450 divided by 20. I come up with 22.5 minutes. And that's a pretty simple way of solving that. Some of you may work a little differently. You may go, oh, 90 minutes, 20 cars. 90 divided by 20, that's 4.5 minutes a car. 4.5 minutes times 5, 22.5 minutes. Leads you to the same answer. But depending on how you think, that's two ways of solving it. But either way, the choice is C. Next question, 60 seconds. Alright, sweater originally costs $37.50. Last week, Mary bought it at 20% off. So this is what we call a percent discount. How much was deducted, or how much was the discount? How many dollars did we take off the original price? You've basically got to take the original price, $37.50, and find 20% of that. So if we, when I do it, I put in the decimal version, which would be 0.2, and I solve. So on my calculator, 37.5 times 0.2 is going to give me $7.50. You could possibly say, well, 37.50 times the fraction 20 over 100, which is basically saying the same thing, and you'll find that either way I'm taking about $7.50 off the price of that sweater. Check your answer. Here it is, letter A, $7.50, and there you go. Next questions. Alright, the coordinates of the vertices of triangle ABC below are A, -3, 5, B, -3, -1, 3, and C, -4, 1. Triangle ABC is translated, that's an interesting word, 3 units down, 4 units right to create a new triangle, A prime, B prime, C prime. What are the coordinates of A prime? That's some tricky vocabulary, but if we clean that up a little bit, translated means moved. So we're going to move this triangle down 3 units and to the right 4 units. So in other words, this, if we just think of this point here, we're going to move it down 3 units and over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is going to be my new A, and we actually call that A primed. We could go through the motions of putting our new points for B primed and C primed, and we've now made a new triangle that looks very similar to, whoops, this should be down here, whoopsie, there we go. We could do all that. We don't need to, and here's why. And this should be over here. So I messed up a lot of the little stuff there. But all we needed to know is where A prime landed, and that's the question. So the plot here is X goes to the 1 and Y 2. So 1, 2 is our new position for A primed. And we can see that that is a choice. But basically I wanted to move this whole triangle down 3 and right 4, and that's what we did. Solve this polynomial. You got, Alright, what is the value of the expression below when x equals 2? So we're going to plug 2 into all the spots where x shows up. If your calculator can raise to the third power, then we could look at it like this: 3 times 2 raised to the third power minus 2 raised to the second power plus 2. My calculator does that. I'm not sure that yours does, but 3 times 2 raised to the third minus 2 squared plus 2, I'm getting a value of 22 here. Let's say yours doesn't do that. How could we still get to the right answer here? If you think of what powers are, that's just saying 2 times 2 times 2. So we could say 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 minus 2 times 2 plus 2. So I rewrote that taking the exponents out. So if we take 3 times 2, which is 6, times 2 is 12, times 2 is 24. Minus 2 times 2 is 4, that gives me 20. Plus 2 is my final answer, 22. Same way, or same answer, different approach. The final answer is B. Begin. Alright, Mr. Wilt prepares chicken wings for a picnic. Based on the bar graph, which of these statements is true? I read the statements, try to match them to what the information says. Mr. Wilt prepares 2 more plain wings than hot wings. So I'm going to compare plain versus hot. So I go over here, find plain, and it says that he's made 18 plain and hot 16. The good news about this question is the very first statement happens to be true. If it was me taking an assessment, I would circle my answer or bubble that in and I would be done. Just to confirm that B and C and D are wrong, Mr. Wilt prepares twice as many plain wings as hot wings. Well, if that was the case, it'd have to be 18 versus 9 down here, and that's not true, so that one's gone. Mr. Wilt prepares 2 more barbecue wings than garlic. So looking at barbecue, we got 12 versus garlic 8. That's 4 more, so statement C is false. Mr. Wilt prepares twice as many barbecue wings as garlic wings. Again, this would have to be 6 down here, which it's not. You're just reading the number that it stops on here, and that's how you solve that problem. Next question. Which model represents -5 plus 2? Each one of these line plots is unique. As we read these, this is going to say -2 plus 5. So how it works is whatever comes first is I'm going backwards 2, so that's the -2, and then I'm going to the right 5, so that's incorrect. So A is gone. B, the very first thing they write is we've gone backwards 5. That's represented by a -5, and then we're going forward towards the positive side by 2, so I'm adding 2 here, and that looks like it matches what we were given, so I think it's choice B. Just to double check, we go back 5 and then back 2 more, so this would be -5 minus 2. And here we go back 5, but the problem is we can't put it over here. If we're doing the addition problem, we need to end. This is actually ends at -3, and that's another thing here. That ends at -3. This ends way out at +2, so that is incorrect. So the choice is B. Next question, 60 seconds. Alright, a microwave oven on sale for 20% off the regular price, which is known as the sale price. So the sale price is $250. What is the regular price of the microwave oven? Here's the issue. We need to figure out what was the price of the microwave before they took the discount. We don't know that price. What we do know is that the sale price is $250. So we took 20% off of some number to get to $250. So if we think of our original price as X, and X is 100%. So we're going to set up a little proportion here. We know the sale price is $250. Now here's the tricky part. We paid 80% of the original price. So the original price is 100% of some dollar amount. The sale price is 80%. So we're going to put that 80 down here. So what we've done is set up a proportion. Cross multiply 80x equals, it's going to be a pretty big number here, 25,000. Grab your calculator. 25,000 divided by 80 comes up to X equaling $312.50. Now, when I get through with this, I go, does that answer make sense? If I had a $312.50 microwave and I took off 20%, would it get me down to $250? There's an easy way to check. If I take that $312.50 times 0.2, I should get $62.50. And the significance behind that, $62.50, is if I take the $312 and subtract $62.50, I'm back to that $250 price. I know I did it right. There may be other methods, but that is the method we went with today. Here we go. All right, Enrique weighs 5 pounds more than twice Brendan's weight. If their total weight is 215 pounds, how much does Enrique weigh? Tricky question. We don't know how much Enrique weighs. We don't know how much Brendan weighs, but we do know that Brendan plus Enrique equals 215. So if Brendan was 100, for instance, Enrique would be 115. There is some more information, and it's going to help us solve this, so that is not correct. We can use algebra to help us solve it. So I'm going to read it carefully. Brendan, if we called Brendan X, X is an unknown number, right? I call Brendan X because if we look at Enrique, he weighs 5 pounds more than twice Brendan's weight. So Brendan is X, Enrique weighs 2 times more than Brendan, or 2x, plus 5 pounds. So X can represent Enrique, is Brendan, this is Enrique. We know that combined they have to equal 215 pounds. So algebra can solve this, because if we just add all that together, we get 3x, see there's 3 x's here, plus 5 equals 215. If you solve for x, so do a little algebra, subtract 5, you get 210 equals 3x, divide both sides by 3, you're going to find that x equals 70. And you go, well, 70 is not a choice. 70 is x, or Brendan's weight. Remember, Enrique weighs twice as much plus 5 pounds. So if we plug in that 70 here, 2 times 70 plus 5 equals the 145. The double check is if we add these two together, we get 215 pounds, which is what we're supposed to. So the choice is B. Next question. All right, an airplane flies 29,154 miles per month. About how many miles in total will the plane fly in 54 months? It's sort of an estimate problem. Really, we're just looking at if we take 29,154 miles in 1 month, how many does it fly in 54 months? So really you're just multiplying times 54 months. Better grab your calculator. 29,154 times 54 gives me, here's what the calculator says, 1574316. I'm looking at which one's the closest estimate. So that is about 1.5 million, or choice B. Next questions. All right, what is the value of B in this case? So we're looking for the angle here. The only thing you have to know is that the entire angle here always is 180 degrees when we're talking about the entire angle. So if we know 1, if we know this 80, then we know that this one, whatever it is, has to add up to 180. So pretty simple. It's a 100-degree angle. When you add them together, you get 180. All right, six. All right, how much money did the soccer team raise during September? To read a line plot, first we look here, we go soccer team, they're green, okay. So we follow the green line. In April they made $100, and down here in May they made 70, June 20, July 40, August 80, September $10. Choice D. It looks like the soccer team needs to get out and knock on some doors because they didn't make very much money in September. Last question, guys. All right, the product of what number and 9 is 1? If it was me, if I didn't know, I'd go, all right, -9 times 9 equals -81. That's not my choice. 0 times 9 equals 0. That's not my choice. I'm going to skip the right answer. 1 times 9 equals 9. That's not my choice. When I multiply 1/9 times 9, I get 9 over 9, which simplifies to 1. My choice is C.